And here's your hosts, Rich, George, and Jason. Does everyone know what time it is? Toilets to Titles.
And welcome to the Title Time on Sunday mornings here on Toilets to Titles Network. I'm your host, Jason. It is NFL Week 1, guys. We are finally back on Sunday mornings. It's great to see your faces. Heidi said before, but I'm your host, Jason, and I've got with me my regular guests, my regular hosts, actually. I'm going to start with Frito Bandito. Rich, how you doing on this Week 1 Sunday morning?
Beautiful Sunday morning. Look, we've already had one game. Now it's the time we all wanted to hear today. Title time, and let's watch some football.
And George, I can't. You and I have talked so much football over this offseason, over so many different shows. I can't even imagine the excitement on that end of the table. How you doing, George?
Doing fantastic. Sunday is here. It is one of my favorite shows that we do every single year, 17 weeks, talking nothing but football, bringing in special guests like the boss man himself over here, Justin, joining myself, Rich, and of course you, Jason. Super excited for this season. Let's get it.
All right, and as mentioned, the boss man himself, Justin down there, he's got joinrivals.com/title tribe as his name, but he's actually Justin FF on all your Twitters and X's and whatnot. How you doing, Justin?
Hey, wonderful. I would much rather have this down here because you're going to be far more entertained by joinrival.com/title tribe than you ever will by following me on Twitter.
That's
a fact.
Pretty true. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it is very true. So I do want to mention that we are live. Obviously, we're going to be going 10:30, 12:30. We can get all your start sit questions answered. George, do you have the threads going currently already?
Yes, of course I do.
Okay.
That's the one thing you guys entrust me to do. Obviously, I can't help set everything up because you guys beat me to that last night. So the one thing I can do is get the threads going.
All right. Before we do get going on this, I do want to mention to everybody, you can catch us on, on YouTube, obviously, youtube.com/toilets titles. We're there live all the time. We've got shows Monday through Sunday, basically, every day, 17 different shows. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, give us a 5-star Apple review, obviously. We can go to patreon.com/toilets titles where you can put a little bit of money in. We've got a Patreon chat in our Gilded chat, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we also have giveaways every week, which is very cool. They've been doing some very cool giveaways over on our Gilded chat. And also, you'll get our waiver wire pickup document early every week. I think that's going out, Monday night, Justin, ahead of everybody else's.
It'll either be super late Monday night or early Tuesday morning. But either way before the waivers run. Way
before your waivers run and way before everybody else. You get in that at any level on the Patreon chat.
No.
Sorry, $4. That's $5. $5. Okay, that's why the boss is here, because I like to say things. But and then also I'm gonna give, once he's done sipping his coffee, I'm gonna give Justin time to talk about Rival Fantasy, because that's Justin's baby here on the network. And I want to give Justin some time to talk about it before we get into the questions.
Yeah, so if you miss out on all the free leagues for the season long, then unfortunately, sorry, but that was a pretty awesome thing. But you can check out our playlist on Toilets Titles or youtube.com/Toilets Titles. We have a Rival show called Friendly Fire. Nate and I do a weekly show where we talk about all the different ins and outs of Rival, but essentially it's a sports gambling site, but it's not like any other sports gambling site. This one has different ways to gamble, like bingo cards and challenges that you mentioned earlier, Jason, where you and George are, and I would imagine Frito himself is going to gamble a lot because he likes to gamble. But you can go to Rival, you can place a $5 bet. Like if I'm talking trash about how good I think Anthony Richardson's going to do so much better than Jimmy Garoppolo, and Rich says no, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to tear Richardson up, then we can put our money where our mouth is. So that's joinrival.com/title tribe. Your first deposit of up to $200 is matched, plus an additional $25 just for using that little link down there.
And
All
Jimmy
right.
Garoppolo is going to beat Anthony Richardson today in fantasy points.
That may be a bet we have to make later. We'll have to see. All right, guys. We are going to jump into the questions. We've got a couple to start it off here. This comes from the sleeper chat that George started. Galaxy Knight says, Aaron Rodgers or Geno Smith? And I'm going to start with Rich.
Look, excuse me. I'm going Geno Smith. Look, Aaron Rodgers' his first game. Look, it could go both ways, but as far as Geno Smith having DK Metcalf, he has Lockett. Have we got word if JSN is playing yet today?
He's
yes.
Last I heard, he was supposed to be playing. Yeah,
I believe so.
Look, he edges Aaron Rodgers just because of the fact he also has that running ability that he will take off if given the opportunity. He got a great run game. Look, Rodgers has all that too and everything, but Geno Smith has a slight edge for me this week.
George?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Geno Smith. I was kind of high on him last year. I didn't think he was going to be completely garbage. I thought he could throw easily for 4,000 yards, and he did. He was the number 8 overall quarterback last year. Only thing they did was add more weapons to surround him with. He's going to be good to go for this week. I honestly think he'll finish as a top 12 quarterback. I want to see it with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Their Jets offensive line is not very good. They are playing a very tough game against the Bills. I want to go with Geno Smith here.
And Justin, you going Geno too?
Yeah, the last game that Geno played against the Rams, he was the QB 12 for that week. Before that, when he played the Rams, he was the QB 3. So I mean, he has the Rams numbers right now, and the Rams, their number isn't that hard to get at this point. And then also, I agree with you guys on Aaron Rodgers. I think week 3, 4, and moving forward after that, that might be a totally different story. But I feel like the Jets are probably going to come out a little flat against that tough Bills defense, and so I'm going to go with Geno for this week. Ask me again in 4 weeks, and I'll probably change my mind.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a clean sweep for me as well. You guys, for all the reasons you mentioned, and we're going to move on to the next question because we're getting a handful of them already. So get through some of these.
Let's go.
Dalvin Cook or Khalil Herbert, and I'm going to start with the guy who talked last, Justin.
I feel like it's got to be Khalil. Again, I actually have Dalvin Cook listed as my RB7 on the season, which was ridiculously high compared to most people. Most people had him late or like lower teens or early 20s. So I do think very highly of Dalvin Cook, but in this given situation, being week 1, being that I think they're going to come out flat against the Bills, I'm going to go with Khalil Herbert because I like his ability to score touchdowns this week. I feel like he's at least going to get one. And
George, I know you've got Dalvin and Scott Fishbowl. So where are you on Dalvin compared to Khalil this week?
I'm going with Khalil over Dalvin. I want to see how Dalvin is going to be used. It is a tough matchup again against the Bills. In 8 career games with at least 12 carries, Khalil Herbert has had at least 10 PPR points 6 times and 15 PPR points 5 times. One of those was against the Packers in 2021 when he had 19 carries for 97 yards and a touchdown, 2 catches for 15 yards on 3 targets. I'm going to go with Khalil Herbert. I think he's been slept on a lot of the offseason. I think he is going to be – like everybody's big on Roschon Johnson. I get that. But like Khalil Herbert has been very good in the opportunities he's been given to start for the Chicago Bears.
All right, Rich, do you agree with these guys? It's going to be Khalil?
Yeah, it's going to be Khalil. It's going to be the same kind of outcome that we saw in this past game between the Lions and Kansas City. Look, there was all this talk about Jahmyr Gibbs being a factor into the game and everything. And let's not forget, these guys are rookies and everything. We got an experienced veteran that's been in the system and everything. And as much as people want to see Roschon Johnson in there, look, they're going to lean heavily on the first game with Khalil Herbert and everything. And we might not see Roschon Johnson kind of like how we saw Jahmyr Gibbs and everything, just used sparingly and stuff like that. And we're all saying, hey, give him an opportunity. But Khalil Herbert knows this offense and stuff like that. They're going to run him. He has the experience, so that's who I'm going with.
All right, and then we got another Khalil Herbert. We may end up with a lot of those today, but a Khalil Herbert or Drake
We're
London.
going
I'll
to.
start. Huh? Yeah, we're going to for sure. I'm going to start this off. I'm going to take Drake London. Him and Ritter had chemistry last year. I want to see that continue this year. I think it's going to. I also think that the Carolina Panthers secondary is suspect. There's not a lot of passing to go around in Atlanta, but I think it's going to be mostly to Drake London. So of the two in a PPR, I'm definitely taking Drake London. Rich, you agree?
Actually, no, I am going Khalil Herbert in this one. Look, we've mentioned this multiple times and everything. We're going to have situations where we have receiver running back. I'm always going to running back to a majority of the time and everything. This is an even match and everything. Look, just like what you're saying, they have chemistry, Ritter and London. Look, they have a lot more weapons available to them too and everything, and it's going to be spread out more. I love London a lot this week, but I like Herbert a little bit more because of the running factor.
All right, George.
I agree with Rich. These two guys are very close in my rankings, and when they're close, I'm always going to go with the running back. I want the guaranteed touches. We're not sure what we're going to get with Desmond Ritter, so I want to go with the running back. If you're forced to start London, the only good thing is the Panthers do give up the fourth most yards to wide receivers. At least they did last year. And London had a high target share in 2022. My only concern there is the quarterback. I like Desmond Ritter, but I want to see how that offense is going to be used with all the weapons that they have now. With the Bijan, who's going to be involved in the passing game, with Kyle Pitts. I got to see it. I want to see it first.
And Justin.
For the time being, Khalil Herbert's listed as the starting running back for the Bears. So there is going to be a split there. It is going to be a committee, and Roschon Johnson is super talented, and Donta Foreman has shown his abilities. So, and Khalil Herbert has shown his as well. Like, they're all very good running backs. So I do think it's going to be a committee, and I think it's going to be pretty evenly split. I also think that Drake London is going to lead that team in receptions this year, and I'm actually kind of starting to lean towards Desmond Ritter being a fairly decent quarterback in the NFL. So this is a tough question, but I think for week one with the unsureties, I'm also going to go with the running back as the tiebreaker. Ask me again next week, and I might have to change my mind.
All right. So we're going to go on to I lost. So for that, Khalil Herbert, 3-1. And we'll go on to the next question. Deion Jackson or Breece Hall? And I'm going to start with the Colts fan on the panel and say, what do you got, Breece Hall or Deion Jackson?
Okay, so again, I think they come out flat, the Jets, but I think the Colts stay flat all season. So this is kind of a tough one. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Deion Jackson. He can also catch the ball in the backfield. I feel like with having a rushing quarterback, that's going to help greatly. And Hall is still coming off of his injury. I understand that he says he's 100%. He says he's ready to go, but it wasn't just a hammy last season. Like, it was a serious injury. So I'm ready to roll out Deion Jackson for this week, but I don't think that that's going to be my decision every week after, again, week 3 or 4. I think we change our minds, but the start of the season with all the different question marks everywhere, you go with the one that you think is the most sure thing for week 1.
George, do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. They said that they're going to ease in Breece Hall. Worst case, they use him, but he'll still be sharing touches with Dalvin Cook. Give me Deion Jackson here.
And then Rich, same.
Yeah, it's the same reason why I didn't pick Dalvin Cook earlier and stuff like that, is because of the fact that Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall are going to get some time. They're going to kind of work them in, see how they go. Deion Jackson, look, there might be some other running backs that get some touches in that backfield and everything, but he is the lead running back coming out starting the season. And when he had the opportunity last year, he didn't look bad.
And I agree there. So that's all 4 of us. And we're going to move on. We're going to move on to some of the YouTube questions. Chris's videos, he is our number 1 fan, one of the earliest fans, and stuck with us because we've done so much for him and he's done so much for us. So Chris Videos, nice to see you on a week 1 Sunday morning. Thank you for joining us. For Flex, Lockett, Scary Terry, Rashad White, Burks, or Khalil Herbert. I'm going to start this one. I know people want to say tie goes to the runner. Lockett is not a tie. Lockett is a must start against the Rams to me. He in 2 games against the Rams last year, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, a buttload of catches, and a ton of targets. Like, I can't remember the exact numbers, but when I was doing my lineups, I was looking up Lockett versus somebody. It was probably Rachaad White, to be honest with you, because I got Rachaad everywhere, and I love Rachaad this week. But for me, Tyler Lockett is a must start against the Rams. He always plays well against the Rams, and there's no Jalen Ramsey there. So let's go George next.
Lockett had 13 catches, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns on 19 targets. He's going to have another big week this week. Go with Tyler Lockett. I like some of these other options. You're going to be here every week with us, Chris, asking the same questions. But for me, of those choices, it's Lockett. Go ahead and lock him in.
Yeah, and then Rich?
Yeah, I'll roll with you guys on this one. Stats are number one definition of what wins and everything. And when he's producing like that against the Rams, just like what you said with Jalen Ramsey not being there, we don't know how this Rams defense is going to look and everything. I love Rachaad White too, just kind of like Jason and everything. And I know we've been pushing Khalil Herbert, but in this situation with Lockett, just like I liked Geno earlier, I like his chances.
And then Justin, agree?
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Lockett. I think that Rachaad White also is going to be incredible. I think both of them are going to do really well, and I'm confident in both of those. So usually Ty goes to the running back, but one of them we know for sure is, right? So I'm going to go with Lockett. I also want to remind everybody in the comments that if you're a Patreon member, make sure you type that in your comment. Just say, hey, I'm a Patreon. I can verify it on my end, and obviously I know a lot of them since I work with you Patreons on a regular basis. But if you are a Patreon in the comments dropping these questions, we're going to make you a priority. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And if anybody else wants to become a priority on these shows, it's patreon.com/toilets to titles.
We are going to get to everybody, but Patreons go first, basically. Let's see. We got one that says, hey, week 1, get that soy sauce out. We're not soy saucing it today, I don't think.
No.
It's way too early in the season to start that.
Hey, for what it's worth, I've been told I have extremely high blood pressure and I need to come up with a better punishment. My doctor even straight up told me that.
Well, I feel like death is the highest form of punishment.
Fair.
All right. Next one from Chris's videos. Tight end questions, Muth or Komet? Ooh, that's ugly for me, but I'm going to take Muth. I think Justin and I have a bet on this already. A $1 rival challenge going right now. I am taking Muth over Komet. Justin, you're taking Komet, right?
So I don't know about that one. That one is pretty darn close to me, but I'm kind of confused by the question. Like, is this 3 different leagues?
Let's take them as individual questions in 3 different leagues, and then we'll, because that's the way it's asked. So,
okay, well, I'm gonna lean towards Komet because of Muth's matchup against the 49ers. Their weakest point of their defense is against tight ends, in my opinion, but they're still extremely strong against tight ends. So I think I'm going to go with Komet here.
George?
I'm going to go Komet. San Francisco gave up the 12th fewest receiving yards and 8th fewest fantasy points to opposing tight ends last year. I just don't see Kenny Pickett having that game where he supports George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris in the passing game, and Pat Freiermuth. I like Muth. He was heavily targeted last year, but San Francisco's not the team that I want to roll him out against.
Well, George, I've already got one of these bets going with Justin, so we're going to do this right here. No,
we're not.
Duel. I shan't mince words with you for long. I am challenging you, sir, to a duel.
Sir, your challenge is accepted.
I accept.
All right, so George and I we're going to be doing this every week. We're going to do one rival challenge between us all. I've already got one of these with Justin, but if you go to rivalfantasy.com/title tribe and join up, you can do challenges as well. I am challenging George. It's going to be a $5 bet. We're going to do this every week, one $5 bet amongst one of us, or 2 of us actually. And the winner is going to donate the winnings to charity. My charity is going to be BFTG Charities. George, I assume yours is going to be the same.
Probably. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Why it wouldn't be, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to make a $5 challenge. I am taking Pat Freiermuth, and George is taking Cole Komet. And I'll do that here in a minute. And whoever wins, $5 goes to charity. With that said, the reason I'm so high on Muth this week is I do think the 49ers defense is good. I think they're going to go after a young quarterback. What's a young quarterback's best friend? a tight end. And do I think he's going to get a ton of yards and touchdowns? No, but I think he'll get a ton of receptions. I think he's going to get enough to be ahead of Cole Kmet, who isn't a good tight end, hasn't been a good tight end. He got paid, but he got as many millions as he had receptions last year, which is 37. It's a lot of money, but no receptions to back it up. So I think it was a interesting signing and not a very good one. And I think the Bears are going to end up paying way too much for a guy who has never shown to be a great tight end. Rich, how do you feel about this? Right now we're 2-1.
I'm going Kmet.
Okay, 3-1.
Very simple.
If you want in on that challenge, I'll throw $5 your way too. Just let me know.
Do it.
Okay. And I'm going to get back over to the comments. We've got, I think
more on this one.
Yeah, I'm heading back over to it. And we've got Chig or Muth, and I still have Muth.
I got Muth there.
I'll go Muth here too.
Chig.
And
I'm telling you, man, that Muth matchup is killing me. And Chig is an athlete. And at the end of the season, last season, they were able to actually exploit his athleticism. And to me, they're going to find ways to get him the ball. He's even going to get the ball in the running game. So if they're going to go out of their way to get him the ball, then he may be one of the offensive focal points, to be honest with you.
The problem is the matchup. New Orleans, they allowed the second fewest fantasy points to opposing tight ends last year. It's a whole like they both have horrible matchups, but the Chig matchup is worse than the Freiermuth matchup. That's my only problem there.
I just think that they're not going to utilize him as a tight end as much.
New Orleans allowed double digits to a tight end once last year, and it was 11 points.
Yeah.
So that's the and it's not like Chig is some known quantity that is like, he's not Kittle, Waller, one of those guys that has produced at a high level regularly. So
all right, shoot me the bet on Rival. Actually,
we
already
have that for $1. Yeah, we have both of those already. Yep. And then last one is Muther and Njoku. This one I'm leaning Njoku.
Yeah.
See, the problem is like we're doing that bet with Muth and Kmet. I'm not even high on Kmet. Like I wouldn't argue for Kmet. I just like him better than Muth for the matchup.
No, I'm with you. The only reason I'm doing it is because I already had one. I might as well double and triple down with you two. Might as well lose big on all of it. Why spread your losses? Okay, so
I can say Njoku as well, but only because of the matchup. And honestly, Njoku's matchup isn't great against the Bengals, but they do have a change in their defensive matchup. So that Bengals defense doesn't look the same as it did last season.
George will probably tell you the exact number here shortly, but the tight end was the weakest point of that Bengals defense last year.
Yeah, when they played last year, he had 9 targets, 7 receptions, 59 yards, and a touchdown. Like you can burn the Bengals with the tight end.
But my point is they have a different defense. Their safeties now are not those deep end safeties. They're going to be playing up more. They have new linebackers. I think it's going to be a different look on the defense. And it's kind of designed to help tighten up their defense against tight ends. But also, I hate the Browns. I hate that situation. I hate Njoku. He's never been good. But with this matchup for Freiermuth, even though I think Njoku is bad, I think Muth is going to perform that poorly this week.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to the next. Chris got in here early and often, so we're going to hit his next. Do you start Madison or Mostert? We'll start there.
I'm going to start Madison there because Dolphins, as much as I like Mostert, Dolphins are missing their starting left tackle. What's his name? Teron Armstead. He's out. They got a makeshift offensive line in front of them right now. I want to start Madison.
All right, Rich.
Man, I'm kind of surprised in George there, man. I'm going Mostert here and stuff like that. He's look, I know with all the injuries going on at Miami and stuff like that, he's going to have plenty of options and stuff like that. And with Hill and Waddle opening up, I mean, he's got plenty of opportunity to produce, even in the passing game.
I think they're both going to be good. Madison's going to get the volume. He's a complete volume play.
And Justin.
Yeah, I agree. I really want to play both of these guys, and because
we'll get there in a second.
Because of the splits, I'm going to go with Madison as well.
See, and I'm going to take Mostert, and here's the main reason. One, Tampa historically has been good against the run, and they're talking about doubling down and trying to get good against the run again.
Okay.
So I'm not a big fan about I'm not a big fan of Madison in general or this week, but Mostert I think is playing. George can maybe correct me here, but I think the Chargers were the worst last year against the rush. Maybe second to the Texans. I apologize. The Texans were the worst, but
Texans were really bad.
but the Chargers were right behind them. So like, that's why I want to start Mostert in a better offense, I feel, than what the Vikings have. The second part this can, so it's tied. So it's going to be Chris. We're not as much used to you as we'd want to be, but that just leaves it up to you. You heard our reasoning. So, but then you have a chance to start Madison here. And do you start Madison over Dotson or Mike Evans? And I'll start with Rich again.
Yeah.
We agree, Rich.
Rich,
Everything
Rich,
you
you're
said, we
you're
can't
muted.
even argue against it.
It's amazing.
Man, I am so.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
I'm going Madison and Mostert in both the. Look, I'm starting both of them. We've already talked about them. They both got good matchups to a certain degree that we like both of them. Look, I like Dotson and stuff like that, but I want to see what he truly produces this time around with Washington this season and everything. So I already know Mostert and Madison are going to get more touches. So.
George, agree? All these guys below me, do you guys just, let's say yes or no?
Yeah, I wanted to go back real quick to the Mostert stats. You were asking how bad the
Chargers?
what's it called was. Yeah.
Okay, well, while you're looking that up, I'm going to
It's right here.
Okay.
Chargers were 6th worst against opposing running backs in 2022. They were 5th worst against opposing running backs in 2021. There is no Devon A-Chain. He's been ruled out. There is no Jeff Wilson. He's on IR. The only running backs really of note on there will be Raheem Mostert and Savon Ahmed. So the Dolphins will deploy a heavy workload for Mostert as well. So I would do both of the running backs.
And then Justin, you agree?
Yeah, I like Madison and Mike Evans actually, because I think that you're getting a perfect combination in that game because they're facing each other. You're going to get the heavy workload of Madison. They're probably going to be up in the game. Their defense is also really bad. So if Tampa Bay's playing from behind and throwing the ball, they're going to throw it all over the field. Mike Evans knows there's a good, strong potential he gets traded before the trade deadline in week 6. So he's going to need to show out to show that he's still got it. And Tampa Bay wants to get something out of him, so they're going to feature him. He hasn't been traded yet, and until he gets traded, I definitely want to play him anywhere I can.
So I do think Evans has a big season. I do want to see it with Baker before I start him. I would start both running backs here. And I'm as big a Dotson guy as you can imagine. The real issue for me is I think Washington's going to get up pretty early, and It may be Dotson who gets those points. I can't say one way or the other. It may be. But it may not be, and if it's not, then it's going to be running backs the whole second half. So that's the only reason I worry about Dotson. So let's see.
I will say that this is as far as Baker goes, this is the best matchup he's going to see this entire season. The Vikings finished 31st in passing yards allowed in 2022 and 28th in fantasy points allowed to opposing quarterbacks. So if they're allowing next to dead last in passing yards and next to dead last in fantasy points for quarterbacks, you got to assume the wide receivers are going to be doing very well. Vikings are starting a inexperienced cornerback room with a rookie and a sophomore with combined two games of starting experience and a total of 22 NFL targets against them combined. So it's a great matchup for both of the cornerbacks and Baker Mayfield this week.
The thing I do worry about for the Buccaneers is Cody Mock is having back spasms and may or may not start. That's the promising right guard rookie that they've got.
Yep.
Not having him there messes that whole line up because they're probably going to have to move the guy who was playing their right tackle over to right guard and start Hainsey at right tackle. It's just not – it's going to be a mess if Mock doesn't play, and that line's not going to be – a lot of line shuffling. So that's my only real concern against the Vikings secondary. I think the Bucs are in for a decent day, or they can be against that defense, but we'll see. And it's also as much as I like him, Dave Canales is the new offensive coordinator there, came over from Seattle. I like his energy. I like his philosophy, but it's the first real game he's calling plays in the NFL. So, we'll have to see if he's got it like that or not. Chris Video says, James Cook or Khalil Herbert? Guys, James Cook's playing a tough matchup, tougher than Khalil Herbert, but, you drafted him earlier for a reason. So let's say I see Rich nodding pretty heavily. Let's go, Rich.
Yeah, look, in any situations that I've been, James Cook has always went for Herbert. It's the first week of the game. Look, I get matchups too, and I know we're going to be talking a lot of matchups and everything, but we also got to remember not all defenses are going to be the same from last year and everything. So go with your people that you drafted first. Be confident with it in the first time around and everything. Look, James Cook on a Bills offense that is going to have some scoring opportunities. He's always going to have that chance and everything. He's involved in the PPR game, in the PPR area. So let's start with Cooks.
Justin?
Yeah, I'm going with Cook. It's not even close.
And then George.
I agree with Justin. It's not close, and it's Khalil Herbert. That Jets defense, especially their front seven, is absolutely one of the best in the NFL. I do not trust James Cook to run the ball there. The Bills have never shown that they actually trust any singular running back. And when it gets down close to the goal line, you always got that threat of Josh Allen running the ball. I want nothing to do with it. The matchup in this really does matter. That Jets defense, especially their front seven, is one of the best in the NFL. They were like the number 5 overall defense against the run last year. I want nothing to do with James Cook, especially when he's not going to get a workhorse load. So I'll take Khalil Herbert.
I've got them basically back to back in my rankings. I've got I've got James Cook one spot above Khalil Herbert, so I'm going to stick with my rankings. But George makes some really valid points there. I'm going to go with James Cook, but man, that's super close. All these choices you have, Chris, shows just that you've been listening to us all off season.
Yep.
Picked great teams. All right, Dustin saying, let's go. Chris has got one for his mom's team.
Hey, right on.
So London, Scary Terry, James Conner, Jamal Williams. I showed some London love earlier. I'm not taking Turf Toe Terry. James Conner has all of the James Conner's got all of the backfield in a Cardinals that's got a guy who at their quarterback's been there like a minute and a half basically. And then Jamal Williams, I just don't trust out of New Orleans starting the season. So yeah, give me Drake London.
Man, that's interesting. I'm all Jamal Williams. I mean, he's going to have every opportunity in this game today and everything. So, obviously Alvin Kamara is out the first 3 weeks. The rookie is not even playing today. So, he's going to have the opportunity with Carr and the weapons that are around him and stuff like that. He's going to get the goal line opportunities. He can catch out of the backfield. I just love his opportunity more than everybody on this board.
George?
Yeah, I think Jamal Williams is going to have the volume. That is for sure. There's no Alvin Kamara. There's no Kendre Miller. The problem is the matchup against the Titans were number 1 in run DVOA in 2022. So they're really, really good against the run. Where you beat the Titans is in the passing game. Jamal Williams, he only averaged 3.2 yards per touch last year, which is not very good. Most of his volume play was at the goal line. That's where he, 13 touchdowns last year. I'm not expecting him to repeat that this year. I'm going to go with Drake London here. It's really close, but I want to go with London. I don't like that matchup.
So I'm going to go with Jamal Williams. I want to go with James Conner, but the Cardinals decided that they wanted to cut Colt McCoy and signed Joshua Dobbs to officially announce that Caleb Williams was going to be their starter for 2024. So they're done. Like, they don't care anymore. They're just like, screw it. Let's just move on. And maybe not Caleb Williams, or maybe, maybe they still believe in Murray. I don't know. We'll have to see what his Fortnite stats look like at the end of the season. But at the end of the day, I'm not a big fan of James Conner for this season for that reason. I think they're going to be playing from behind. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. And because the coaches still want to win, the players that are on the field still want to win. So they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. Jamal Williams is going to get all that opportunity. And I totally agree with George. I think it's kind of an ugly situation. So honestly, I would probably lean towards London over Connor, but I think at the end of the day, I'm still going to give that tie to the Jamal Williams because he's going to get all of the opportunity there too. For today, it's either going to be him or Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, Jamal Williams could be a good start in another week, but the Titans were great against the run. So we've got 2-2.
That's fair.
We've got 2-2, so we didn't help your mom out that much. It's not something I thought I'd say on a Sunday. Let's see. We've got some comments. We've got Bobby Pickskins is in the chat. That dude's a guy that's followed George and I around the last several years. So
I had to put a restraining order against him because he keeps stalking me.
Oh, I let him stay over at my house. We planned to stalk you, George.
Oh, damn it.
Let's see. We've got Nate in the chat. We made it. And he missed us like the desert missed the rain. I'm cool with that. And then I'm gonna keep doing these comments here in YouTube. But George, if you want to check our start sit chat on Gilded and want to jump in with one every once in a while, that would be cool too.
Yep.
And so Joshua Chong Lamasa, Sutton, Marquise Brown, DeAndre Swift, D-Hop, Deontay Johnson, Michael Thomas. Pick one wide receiver and one for flex. This is a lot of ugly, I've got to say. Talent-wise, just throwing talent out, it's D-Hop and DeAndre Hopkins for me, talent-wise. Tough part is Deontay's playing against the 49ers. Or, sorry, Deontay Johnson's playing against the 49ers and D-Hop's playing against... I think I'm going D-Hop for sure.
Yeah, look, I'm going D-Hop, but my second one is going to be Sutton. He's going to have plenty of opportunity with the injuries going on in Denver and everything. Look, he's their number one starting out. Is Judy playing? We heard anything on that?
Judy's not playing.
Okay, so yeah, look, I want opportunity there, so I'm taking Sutton and D-Hop in this choice.
George, you agree?
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins, he should be just completely peppered with targets from Ryan Tannehill. If you look at DeAndre Hopkins' win rate last year versus man, contested catches, and in zone, he finished top 10 in all three of those categories. He still has what we call it. So I'm definitely starting DeAndre Hopkins. He's an absolute must start. And then let me pull up Sutton on my notes here. The games that Jerry Jeudy did not play in 2022, Cortland Sutton had a whopping 32% target share. So I am absolutely looking forward to seeing Cortland Sutton go out and ball out this week. You also got to remember that there's no Jerry Jeudy. There's no Tim Patrick. That receiving core is all sorts of banged up, and Cortland Sutton is still the last man standing. So I'm going to go with those two.
Justin.
It's never Cortland Sutton, guys. Even with that huge target share, he did crap with it. Like, what's the point of having a huge target share if you're not going to catch the damn ball? So it's never Cortland Sutton. I never draft a guy. I never pick him up. I accidentally drafted him and Judy in an auto draft about 2 weeks ago, and I've been trying to sell them off for peanuts, and nobody will take them. It's never Cortland Sutton. So I agree with you guys on D-Hop. Dude's going to get peppered. Dude still got it. My other guy is the team that I just talked about that said is going to be playing from behind the entire game, that's going to be throwing the ball. This dude is uber talented, and he's healthy for the first week, which is a plus because you're not going to get him for too long healthy, and that's Marquise Brown. I don't care who's throwing him the football. He's going to find a way to get it. The dude has the speed to track down the ball, and bad quarterback play does not always mean bad wide receiver play. So I'm going to go with Marquise Brown in that flex spot.
So I can't follow you there. I'm gonna follow these guys and say Sutton and D-Hop just for the week one. I do want to see Marquise Brown is gonna, just kind of like we talked about with Connor. Marquise Brown is gonna get all of the passes. Who else are they gonna throw it to? Andy Isabella. I don't know. You know who else is there, right?
The one thing that scares me about Marquise Brown is that he's coming off a hamstring injury.
Yep.
He's still dealing with the hamstring injury. As long as, and so it's like 95% of the rest of the NFL apparently. But
Okay.
that scares me off Marquise Brown.
If you're worried about Brown, then go Deontay Johnson, go Swift, go with my grandmother. I don't care. Never Sutton.
Listen, I've been with your grandmother. I've been with your grandmother way better than Sutton.
Yeah.
All right. What's up? Look, if he had drafted your grandmother, first pick right away.
That's right.
We are gonna have to fix this for next week though, because you're the comments like George looks
I
like
don't
he's
care.
looking over the fence. What's up, fellas? We finally made it. My question: the teams y'all helped me draft our little baby. Do I start Jamal Williams or Brian Robinson? I'll start this one. It's Brian Robinson early and often.
Yep.
Again, we mentioned the Texans were the dead last against the run. The only thing that could give you pause is the fact that Brian Robinson is part of a committee. But I think that whole committee is going to eat. So
Yeah.
give me Brian Robinson. I think it's a nice Texans buffet for those running backs. Everybody's going to get plenty of food. Lots of food there on the table. I think we're all going to agree there, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Cardinals were 27th ranked against running backs last year, and they gave up the third most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Go with Brian Robinson.
Okay, but he's playing the Texans. So same thing.
Look, me and Dustin, we've been chatting back and forth all week over this and everything. Look, I like both running backs here and everything, and I'm still slightly edging Jamal Williams. I love Brian Robinson in this, but I'm not going to go against what I've already talked to him in the chat and everything. So I have Jamal Williams a slight edge on this one.
All right, so that's 3-1. Rich
Who were you saying is playing the Texans?
the oh, you know what? You're right.
Arizona's
Cardinals.
playing Washington.
Yeah,
I had it
sorry.
right.
Brain fried. No, because I was already looking at the next question
You were
with
looking
Zay
at Zay.
Flowers.
Yeah.
I was looking at Zay. I was already on to the next one. JSN or Flowers, and I'm gonna surprise you and say JSN.
Wow.
I don't think it's a surprise to me. I was going to say JSN. I think that's going to be a run heavy game for Baltimore, and I think almost every game is going to be run heavy. I don't care what they say about unleashing Lamar; they're going to run the damn ball. So I'm going to go with JSN.
I think they'd be done. And to get to my point that I was trying to make when we were still on the last question, the Texans were literally dead last against the rush last year. So, well, basically what happened last year, they were great against opposing quarterbacks because teams got up so quickly that all they had to do was run the ball after the first quarter. And that defense, they added a little bit of help in the draft, but not enough. So I'm going to say JSN against the Rams defense. And then I want to see how that wide receiver room with the Ravens shakes out. George?
Yeah, Zay Flowers is the healthiest of all the Ravens wide receivers. The problem is exactly what you said, though. Houston was decent against the pass last year because you could run all over them. So why would you throw against them when you could run the ball and just get out of the games without, injuring your wide receivers or your quarterback or anything like that? Why take the chance? So for this particular question, while I'm not a big fan of JSN week 1, I think I would start him over Zay Flowers.
Look, I'll roll with you guys on this. Look, I was leaning heavily on Zay Flowers and stuff like that, but with your guys' comments, look, there's a reason why we're all on here. You guys beautifully spit out knowledge and everything, and look, it's either way. You can split hairs on this one, and everything, but I'll lean JSN on this one.
All right, and so that's 4 for JSN. David Ramirez, Pitts or Kittle?
Trade one.
Yeah, for sure.
There you
For
go.
sure.
If it's a tight end premium and you can start both of them, I like to know your other options. But in this case right here, look, I think Kittle's coming off of an injury. It's either hamstring injury too. It's like all tight ends got hurt last minute before this week and everything. So it just kind of threw everybody's mojo off and everything. But on the same token, man, I don't know what to expect from Pitts and everything. This is a real tough one. I'm gonna lean Pitts in this one.
Yeah, so Pittsburgh was middle of the pack against tight ends last year. With Kittle being injured, apparently he's got a hamstring issue or something going on. I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts here. Last year in the home game against the Panthers, Kyle Pitts had 5 receptions, 80 yards, and a touchdown. So he's performed well. It is a division rival. I think this game will actually be closer than a lot of people think. And I think Pitts will be involved in the offense more this year than he was last year. So for this question, I'll go with Pitts.
So Pittsburgh being middle of the pack against tight ends last year, I'd like to know where they were after the first 3 weeks when their defense was healthy, and that defense was incredible. Now they're all healthy. I'm pretty confident that they're probably going to step back towards where they were at the start of the season last year. I have a lot of shares of them in the leagues that play defense. That Steelers defense is going to look great. And then, of course, just like George said, and everybody's talking about the question marks behind Kittle with his injury. I'm going to go with Pitts. He's going to be a featured guy. So for week 1, let's see what that Steelers defense can bring. And I think either way, you're probably going to be okay. But I think that Pitts has the higher upside for this week.
So, Dave, I get to do my favorite thing on this show.
Oh, here we go.
I get to be the contrarian here. We've got 3 right now for Pitts, and I can take Kittle. That way, you're going to play Pitts because these guys, 3 of us said Pitts. But when I say Kittle and I'm right, I can be like, look, I was right. It's my favorite thing on this show. So I'm taking Kittle, and here's why. Pitts is the second, now probably third option on a team where they complete 18 passes a game. I don't want to be the third option. I don't want the third option on a team where they complete 18 passes. Ritter may look better, and that's great, but I want to wait a week or 2 to see that. So for me, I'm taking Kittle unless he's not playing. But if he's out on the field and they feel confident he's good to go, I'm personally going to play Kittle. So, like I said, it's my favorite thing on the show because 3 of us said Pitts, and I can just be out here on a limb and be right either way. All right. Hey, boys, back in Ukraine. Very cool. Be safe. Please be safe.
Question, hey, man, I hope you got that Dr. Pepper while you were out of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Asking where Dirty Jobs is. Dirty Jobs moved on to greener pastures, so we wish him all the best. So it'll be me, Rich, and George going forward. And do you boys trust Dubs today, or do I roll with Charbonnet? Standard flex spot.
Because it's a standard league, I think I am going to go with Romeo Dubs. There's no Christian Watson. I know he's a little banged up, but I think he'll be the wide receiver 1 there for this week. He looked really, really good in preseason with Jordan Love. So being that it's a standard league, I'm concerned about Charbonnet's usage behind a healthy Kenneth Walker. I expect Charbonnet. Yeah, he is.
He's got a groin. He might play.
I have a groin too, Jason. So does Justin and Rich. What is your point? But I expect at least a 50-50 split with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. And I expect Charbonnet to do most of his damage in the passing game. Because it's a standard and I expect him to be more involved in the passing game than the run game, I'm going to go with Romeo Dubs.
Unlike you, Kenneth Walker uses his groin in physical activity. Married 20-something years, you're not using your groin in any. How old are your kids again?
That's not the point.
It'd be pretty amazing if your groin was still in bad shape from 18 some odd years ago.
I can explain your kids. It's the mailman.
Yeah.
Well, there's that one too.
You could have told me that before they turned 18.
I mean, George was in Iraq, and his wife somehow was 3 months pregnant. I don't know how that happened.
And somehow Jason knew all about it.
Well, I have plausible deniability. I didn't know them that far back. At least that George knows. Anyway, Justin, who you got here? Dubs or Charbonnet?
Yeah, so I'm leaning heavily towards Dubs actually, and I don't want to though, because I still feel like, the Seahawks against the Rams, there's going to be a lot of passing there, but I don't know. I think it might be a closer game. I'm gonna lean towards Dubs here because of the fact that Watson isn't there, and because of the fact that they want to feature Love and they want to show what he's got. So I'm gonna go with Dubs, but this is a close one. It's a good question.
And Rich,
man, I'm in the same boat as all you guys. Look, I want to go with Charbonnet, to be honest with you, and everything. Just like what we were talking about with the Washington, they might get up early and stuff like that, and just pound the ball the second half and give the opportunity to both running backs and stuff. So, you know what? Just because of that, I'm leaning Charbonnet. I'm going to be the odd man out.
So it's 2-2. We're not helping. No, because I'm on
Oh.
Charbonnet as well. But it's 2-2. So we didn't help our friend from
You flip
the
a coin.
Ukraine all that much. Yeah, flip a coin on that. We didn't help you all that much, man. I apologize, but it's good to hear from you.
Tails.
And
Yeah, I'm glad you're safe back in Ukraine.
yes,
Tails
absolutely.
up.
We've got the other boss checking in, my guys checking in from Dylan's soccer game. I've got Dylan for a ton of points today, so if you can start Dylan, if you were able to draft him, I say go for it.
Her, and she has 2
Oh,
games.
sorry,
So-
Dylan. I apologize.
No, you're good. So Dylan has 2 games, and one of them is on a boys team, and she's
That's-
going to dominate that league more so than she will the all girls league. That's my analysis.
Y'all ever watch Little Giants? We can call her the Icebox.
There you go. There you
There
go.
we go.
All right. And for Frankenstank, Juju, Nico, or B Rob?
B-Rob.
Yeah. And I'm going B Rob.
Yep.
I'm going
B-Rob.
Juju because he's playing me. So let's go Juju here. No, I'm just kidding. He's not playing me. But the correct answer is B Rob.
And also in Frankenstank, running backs do tend to score more, especially after those top 5 or so at each position. The running backs tend to score a lot more than the wide receivers do. So definitely Robinson.
What's funny to me here is did you guys see the news report earlier in the week about Juju and that his knee
about
could
blowing out.
his knee could explode? I don't know about you guys, but anytime I hear somebody's knee could explode, I might stay away from that.
I'm
Yeah.
concerned. I have concerns.
Yeah,
I have concerns and questions here. Okay.
Also, look at it from the player's standpoint. If a doctor says your knee could explode, then don't you think you're going to favor the other knee a little bit more? And then that's going to raise the likelihood of an injury somewhere else,
Correct.
That's scary. That's scary stuff. That's just natural. You're just not going to plant on that knee.
All right. Daniel Jones versus the
This
Daniel
is
Jones
Danielle. No, put some respect on that. It says Danielle Jones.
Maybe Bobby Trauma is a Dallas fan. You guys probably know.
I don't know if
I'm
he's a
not.
Dallas fan or not.
I don't think so. But Danielle Jones versus the Cowboys and Everett versus the Dolphins, or drop Everett for Howell versus Arizona, Carr versus Tennessee, Love versus Chicago, Russ versus and then start Kincaid at tight end. I don't like Daniel Jones that much this week, although his options are okay. Of these, I think I like Howell the most, but I do like Gerald Everett a lot this week. The Dolphins are particularly vulnerable against the tight end.
Yep.
Gerald Everett has his best games at home. So I think I roll out Daniel Jones and Gerald Everett.
So the way
Am
I'm
I
reading
correct?
this, is this Superflex? That's what's
No, I don't think so. I think
Right.
what he's saying is to pick up another quarterback, the guy he would have to drop is Gerald
Oh,
Everett.
I see. So he
Yeah.
could drop Gerald Everett, pick up one of these other guys, and start them over
But
Daniel
then
Jones.
he'd have to start Kincaid at tight end because that's the tight end
Gotcha.
on his roster.
Gotcha.
So I have Everett a good bit higher than Kincaid week 1. I actually have Daniel Jones higher than Howell, even though Howell's matchup is better. Not by a lot, though. So for me, it's Daniel Jones and Gerald Everett. Gerald.
Yeah,
So
I'm rolling with those two. I'm rolling with Jones and Everett. You probably drafted Jones over all these running backs. So just like I said, you start with your running back. I do like Kincaid, but Everett, the only thing that holds me back on Everett is all the options that they have there for them to throw to. Look, I know it's going to open up more opportunity for him. Let's say high efficiency opportunities and everything. I would almost start Kincaid over Everett due to how much talent that Everett has around him.
So because of the quarterbacks that you have listed here and the amount of quarterbacks there, I'm going to guess that maybe this is a 1 quarterback league. And if that's the case, I'm just going to go ahead and stick with Daniel Jones. And if I'm sticking with Daniel Jones, then I'm going to start Gerald Everett over Kincaid for this week. But these are also the lesser quarterbacks on the list, even in 2 quarterback leagues. So if this is a 2 quarterback league, I'm dropping Everett for Love for the season-long aspect of it, and I'm going to roll the dice with Kincaid because I think on the season, Kincaid's going to outscore Everett several weeks anyway, and as close as they're going to be, the points you're going to lose there for what you're gaining at your super flex is worth it. So super flex, drop Everett, pick up Love. Not super flex, just leave it how you got it, bud.
And I've got to say,
This
it's
is-
got to be one quarterback because those none of those quarterbacks would so even though they're the lesser ones, like they're not the lesser Baker Mayfield and Young and those guys are the lesser ones. These guys I've seen on.
No,
most
I have a
quarterback
home
rosters.
league that has 3 of those guys available.
Well, why aren't they on your team?
Because it's super fly. I already have 3 quarterbacks. I don't really need more.
Yeah, you know
I'm
what? I
almost
picked those
positive-
guys up for trades, but go ahead, George.
Yeah, I'm almost positive this is a single quarterback league. You're not finding Derek Carr on waivers. You're not finding, even as a third quarterback or bye week, none of these guys are typically available in most leagues outside of Justin's home league, apparently. Would anybody here drop Kincaid to pick up Carr? Or
I
you
dropped
guys-
Kincaid. I'm super low on rookie tight ends in general, and that may come
I
back
am
to
as
bite me this
well.
year. But I get why people don't want to because he's potentially the second receiving option on what should be a high-powered Bills team. But yeah, I would, but I'm not. I know I'm not in the majority there. Plus, you drafted him pretty relatively early, I guess.
If
Look,
this is
the
a one
issue-
quarterback,
yeah.
go
The
ahead.
issue with this is the fact that if it is a single QB league and stuff like that, these QBs are going to stay more available on the waiver wire than Kincaid is. If you drop Kincaid, someone else is going to take the opportunity to pick him up and everything. So that's the reason why I wouldn't do that. And because I'm assuming you only have one QB on your roster if you're asking this question too. So that just tells me, look, there's plenty of opportunity to pick up a QB if need be.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. So it's scary to think that I agree with the Frito.
All right. We've got a Patreon question here. Hey, I'm a
Hold on,
Patreon.
I want to throw this one up because it goes with
Oh, okay.
that
Yeah.
question right there. Isaiah Likely is also available for my Everett over Kincaid question situation.
That's
I
a
would
one-
absolutely- I would absolutely drop Gerald Everett for Isaiah Likely and start Isaiah Likely this week.
I tend to agree there. Absolutely would drop because I don't like Everett year long, like Justin was mentioning. I do like him this week, but I think I'd take Likely over Everett, even though I'm pretty high on Everett this week.
Yeah, I can go with that.
And
All right,
then-
now we're
following it up again. It is one quarterback, 12 team, half PPR.
all right, but we're gonna get to our Patreon now.
That's
Hey,
fine.
I'm a Patreon. At running back, do I start Jamal or B Rob?
Do I start
B-Rob.
B-Rob.
Wait, we already did this question, did we not?
Yeah, we might have. I think he asked it again, saying he was a Patreon. So
Yeah, he was probably tired of waiting.
yeah. Let's see. Dotson
Chick
or
is not a
Mostert?
great start this week.
Yes, he is.
Jeremy
no.
Vague. Jeremy Vang. Mostert for me.
Mostert
Mostert.
for me.
Mostert, not close.
Let's see. With Andrews, I think we're all going to pick Likely here for Brandon Williams.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna pick the non-Russell Wilson target.
It's a good way to put that. Mini Jordan 718. Pick wide receiver in a flex and one to drop. So let's go through the wide receivers first. Elijah Moore, Njigba, Van Jefferson, Dubs, Burks.
Elijah Moore, easily.
That's
Justin?
we're just taking the wide
Just-
receiver, right?
Yeah, because we got to do wide receiver first.
Oh man, this is a tough one, but I'm gonna go with Van Jefferson.
Yeah, same here. This week I'm going Van Jefferson.
Man, I'm not going to be any help for you guys because I'm going to say Elijah Moore. I'm super high on Elijah Moore this season. So
I am
I
too, but for this week though, look, Van Jefferson's their number one option with Higbee.
That's all right. Elijah Moore ran 75% of the routes from the slot in preseason. Bengals gave up the 10th highest fantasy points to slot wide receivers last year. I'm easily going, and Deshaun Watson has a history of targeting his slot wide receivers. I'm going to go with Eli Moore here.
All right, this is a rival challenge right here. I'm taking
I'll
Van
take
Jefferson over Elijah Moore. Whoever wants in on this one.
I got
Okay.
you on that one.
I'm on that too. We all have to remember to do it right after the show, though.
So
All right.
again, I don't care how many targets you're getting if you can't catch the ball. So and obviously we know that the human predator loves to hit the slots, but we are if we're talking
Right in
flex
stride.
here, if we're talking flex here, I also kind of like Elijah Moore just by default from this group, but I like the opportunity that Dubs is going to get. So I want Van Jefferson as my wide receiver, Dubs as my flex, and the guy I'm dropping here is probably, unfortunately, Gainwell. As much as I want to hang on to him, I think there's just so much potential at all the other spots, and we know what Gainwell's cap is on the season, and I mean. It's not great. It's not bad. I think he's going to be steady if he gets the opportunity, but until he gets the opportunity, he can't even really be steady. So I'm going to say Gainwell is the guy I'm dropping.
Quick
So
breaking news note, real quick. Look, D-back from Seattle, Devin Witherspoon, the rookie, is not playing today.
Ooh. Okay.
All right. Yeah, and I'm gonna look through this. So I am doing.
So that helps Van Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Elijah Moore and Van Jefferson with that news because look, they both have similar. They both have similar opportunity here, but Dobbs is coming off an injury of his own, so I'll take the guy who's actually healthy for the first time in a long time. So I'm taking Elijah and Van Jefferson as my two.
I'm taking the two of them too. I just got Van Jefferson over Moore.
So that's two of us. George.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm sticking with Elijah Moore.
Well, who's the second one, George?
Van Jefferson.
All right, so that's three of us, and then as far as drop, can we all agree Gainwell? There's four running backs there, right? With Boston Scott.
They've got 4 running backs, and that's going to be a mess.
All right. With Andrews out, pick up likely Knox or Dulcich. Likely, guys.
Likely.
Yeah.
Likely.
Half point PPR. B-Rob, Dalvin Cook, Elijah Moore, or Damian Harris.
B-Rob.
B-Rob.
I'm taking B-Rob, but for me, Elijah Moore's pretty dang close.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not close.
We've got to remember what that last challenge was, Rich.
Yeah,
you guys
I
can
got
go back and watch it.
I got it.
Well, we only have a half hour after the show ends to go back and find it. All right.
And we have a lot of our own lineups to set.
All 30 of them.
So Swift or Damian Pierce?
Pierce.
Pierce.
I don't think this is close.
I don't think it's close either.
Guys, I'm gonna go with Swift.
I'm going to go with Swift as well. Wow. Baltimore allowed the 6th fewest fantasy points to running backs last year. They brought back basically their entire defense. Only Najee Harris broke 100 yards on the ground versus Baltimore. And the Ravens allowed the 6th most yards and fantasy points to receiving backs. That's not Damian Harris's game, though.
Damian Pierce. But what was what did the Patriots do against the run? You got that in front of you?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well,
I'll try to look it up. It's for me. It's Swift. He's gonna be more involved in the receiving game anyway.
Sorry,
On top
Bobby,
of that, but Penny's gonna be there too, guys. Does that not worry you? Who does Bears have?
Penny and Gainwell and Boston Scott, as we discussed, like that's a four-way mess against the Patriots. That, if I'm not wrong, the Patriots were pretty dang good against the run as well. Justin, go ahead.
So this might just be a mix-up on Yahoo, but they just had the Houston and Baltimore game go live and say that Houston has already kicked off and it was a touchback. Did they move that game up, or is Yahoo just screwing things up? Because I was just looking at their schedule.
It's only 11:35. It hasn't started yet.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but it's the only game that it did that to. But I just wanted to make sure because, you know, that's kind of big news if they suddenly decide because of the weather they want to bump it up or something.
Not seeing anything on it.
Yeah, I can't imagine they do that, but
yeah, they shouldn't. But I just want to throw that out there. Anyway,
so it's just Yahoo screwing up, which is we're used to.
Yeah. So, but for me, it's Damian Pierce. I think is just going to be in too much.
Guys, I've got ESPN doing the same thing. Did we just miss an early start time?
Just go with Swift if you can still.
Yeah.
We did not miss an early start time. It was scheduled to go at 1:00, but I'm worried that since we've been on, maybe because there has been a lot of bad weather on the East Coast.
But there's no news or anything on it. Everything's been coming across.
It's still saying 1:00 on everything else, but literally ESPN's got the same exact thing going.
So maybe it's just some dude that's there at the stadium that hit the wrong button. All right.
All right. Well, that's
we're going to move
try
forward as if
we're
the
gonna
game
try
is
and track that down.
Yeah.
Likely or Ferguson?
Likely.
Yeah,
Well,
likely, and that's for
likely,
coach.
Yeah. I'd say likely as well.
And then Muth or likely.
Likely.
We're all gonna die on this likely hill this week.
Most likely.
Yeah, because you know how I feel about Moose matchup.
With Watson out and Andrews doubtful, would you start Jalen Reed or Zay Flowers over Deontay Johnson in half PPR?
No, I like Jaden Reed, but I'm not starting him or Zay Flowers over Deontay Johnson.
If I'm gonna start one, it would be Zay Flowers, but oh man, that touchdown regression is going to bounce back this season, and I think it's going to bounce back heavy. I think Deontay gets a lot of touchdowns, and that might be the only way he scores a lot of points this week. But I feel it coming, so I'm going to go with Deontay.
Sorry, I'm still watching to see if this game's actually
ESPN is still allowing me to swap players in my roster for that Houston and Ravens game. So
there's just something stupid going on. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, flex. Woods, Gainwell, Palmer, Dell, or Skoranek?
Oh my goodness. I mean, out of default, out of all the players, I'm going Woods and then Dale if you had to make a choice.
Hey Justin, go to your waiver wire, see if Jaden Reed is available. I do like Jaden Reed's matchup this week against the Bears. Their cornerback, Tyler Gordon, gave up a passer rating of 110 last year, and Bears gave up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing slot wide receivers in 2022. With no Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs banged up, Jaden Reed should have a good game. I wouldn't start him over Deontay Johnson, but I would definitely start him over every one of these wide receivers you mentioned here.
So of these wide receivers, let's assume he's not. Let's assume
of these. I'm gonna go Tank Dell, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm going Tank Dell as well, and I don't like it either.
I was pissed off at you, George, because you said, Justin, go see if Jaden Reed is available. And I was like, why is he having me do this? I'm trying to look at this to see if I want to start somebody. Fine, whatever you want. So I spent like 5 seconds or 25 seconds there trying to find Jaden Reed was available. But okay, so the good news is in a 20-team league, you have some pretty good flex options here. Geez, I don't know, man. I like Robert Woods, though. He's back to playing that second wide receiver role, and he always excels in the second wide receiver role. So I think I might lean towards Woods here. And again, also I don't like it, but I'm going to go with Robert Woods. He's the most secure thing you have here. In my opinion, as far as highest floor goes.
I just think Woods is spent. I think that guy's toast. But so that's 2-2. We didn't help you out too much, Justin.
So another real quick, not that it's huge or anything like that, but Cordell Patterson is out today.
It's huge for me. I was starting him in a league. So
Brandon Williams says wide receiver 2 and a flex. He has to start 2 here. In a PPR, Connor, Mostert, Sutton, Deontay. I know we're all going to say Mostert. Yep. So who's the second one? Rich?
I'm leaning Sutton. Look, I know what Justin is saying on that, but understand this is a new coach, a new offense, that it ain't going to be like last year and everything. Look, to me, it's Mostert and Sutton with the opportunities.
Yeah, it is a new coach that's also pretty much all but said, hey, you suck, Wilson. So even the new coach agrees. I guess give me James Conner. Like I don't like him this year, but I think with your other options.
No, he has to have a wide receiver. You have to pick
he
a
has
receiver.
to. Yeah, you have to pick Sutton or Deontay because we're all agreeing Mostert is the flex.
Yeah.
So it's Sutton or Deontay.
That sucks. So I guess it's gonna be Deontay because it's never Sutton. I'd go
George?
Scarano before Sutton.
I'm going to go Sutton over Deontay.
And listen, I know how much that pains you. It pains me too. I'm going to say Sutton over Deontay just because of matchups.
Yeah.
All right. Steve Evans. Hi, Uncle Steve. Hope you're wearing a belt. Hopkins, Michael Thomas, or Tank Dell?
Stop right there. Stop right there. It's Hopkins.
It's
Next
Hopkins.
question. It's Steve. It's Hopkins. It's always Hopkins.
Yeah, full PPR. I'd go Hopkins as well.
Risk it with Waller tonight or throw in Likely with Andrews out. And I've got this in my Scott Fishbowl as well.
Look, I'm rolling Waller. I saw some yesterday. Him at practice and stuff after stretching, he's moving around fine and stuff like that. Just give him time to rest and everything. Look, you have to go Waller here.
I need Joe. Where's Joe at? I need my Waller update from Joe. I'm risk adverse, especially week 1. I think I go Likely. It's Andrews is out, so I it's not like you're grabbing a streaming tight end like a Fairmouth or somebody of that ilk. Like I'm expecting Likely to fill in very nicely for Mark Andrews. He's done it before in the past. I'm going to go with Likely here.
I don't like the matchup for Waller, especially considering the offseason that he had. So I'm going to go with Likely as well.
Well, so let me ask you that for me personally, because I've got this, but I've also got Connor in Scott Fishbowl. Would you put Likely in over Connor this week?
Yes, I would.
James Conner?
Yes.
No, because as much as I hate James Conner, he's still going to get all the opportunity. So in Scott Fishbowl, you also get points for first down. So he's probably going to get a few of those as well. So I think I would go James Conner in that one.
Yeah, I'd stick with Conner in that situation.
All right. Guys.
Also, real quick, another note, not that it matters either, but Zach Ertz is expected to play for the Cardinals today.
Ooh, man, for season long, that's big news for him to be able to act this early.
Yeah, he looked good last year when he was on the field till he hurt himself. So
I was kind of expecting him to start on the pup, and I was wondering why that news never came out. So he must be making big advancements. So season long, guys, let's start looking at picking up Ertz. I might be on the waiver wire tonight.
Yeah, the tough thing about that too is a lot of people in Dynasty were hoping for the start of the McBride era, and looks like they'll have to wait a little bit, just a little bit longer. Saints or Eagles defense week 1?
Saints against the Titans.
Yeah, I think I'm rolling Saints too.
Man, I want that Eagles defense against the Patriots with Mac Jones throwing the ball around.
Yeah, am I missing something?
No, I mean
the Saints against the Titans. You guys want the Saints against Derrick Henry. You guys want the Saints against D-Hop, but you guys don't want to have.
No, I want the Saints against Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, I guess. Man.
I mean, but I'd take Tannehill over Mac Jones.
Or you have the Eagles against the entire crappy Patriots offense. It's the Eagles.
I mean, they're both good options. Go with the Eagles. You could convince me to go with the Eagles. I'm not like digging my heels in for the Saints defense here.
Rival doesn't have team defense, do they?
No, they don't.
They might. I don't know. I'll have to look. Pat Hoffer, need a replacement for Andrews. Isaiah Likely or Juwan Johnson? Man, I like Juwan Johnson up until Isaiah Likely became a thing.
Yep, same here. Go with Isaiah Likely, but I like both of those options, especially when he's got Lamar as his quarterback.
Yeah, that stack would be nice.
Yeah. I think that's the tiebreaker for me is him having Lamar, because I was gonna go Juwan Johnson, but now if they score a touchdown, you're doubling down. So yeah, I'll go Likely.
Rich, you agree? I saw you nodding. All right. Kenneth Walker or Najee?
First off, Alex, how's the leg? I hope everything is going great there.
Yeah, I mean it's been a while, so I should.
It was good to see you back on the field, but I'm sure it's painful still. All right. Now let's actually get to his question.
You guys are horrible.
Let's get back to the question: Kenneth Walker or Najee? And I'll start with George since he had a comment.
Let me see here. I'm actually leaning Kenneth Walker. San Francisco gave up the second fewest rushing yards and the lowest explosive rate for running backs in the NFL last year. So I don't like my running backs starting against 49ers. Ken Walker is coming off an injury, but I expect him to get a bulk of the workload. I understand they did draft Zach Charbonnet early. I expect him to be more involved in the passing game. Walker has been explosive in the past. That's where he does a lot of his damage. I'm going to go with Ken Walker here.
Justin?
Yeah, if I'm going to go with a running back against San Francisco, it's going to be a receiving back. And Najee's not bad in the receiving game, but he's not good enough to give me that edge. So I think I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker and hope that he is healthier than we're anticipating. Yeah, I think most weeks I go Najee, but for week one, I'm gonna agree and go with Kenneth Walker.
And Rich, I saw you nodding. Do you agree?
Yeah, look, I want to go Najee, but because of his matchup and stuff, you have to go Kenneth Walker here. I'll go with you guys on this one.
The other thing that kind of scares me is like there's talk about how Warren may eat into Najee's workload. Like I'm not a big believer of that. We have not seen that in the past. Typically, Steelers use one running back, and it's a 3-down back. But there's been lots and lots and lots and lots of chatter about Warren eating into Najee's workload.
And by typically they go one back, he means like over the last 40 years. So it's a kind of a big.
there's a large sample size.
Yeah.
What's funny about it is if any running back would have success this week, I think it wouldn't be Najee. But you're right. They only go with one. I wasn't earlier in the show. I said I wasn't high on Walker coming off that groin injury, but Najee's a volume play, and this week isn't a volume game for him. I think that defense is just too good, and 3 yards a carry equals 4th and 1 a whole lot against the 49ers. So I'm not a big fan of Najee this week. PPR with tight end premium, pick 2. Kincaid, Dulcich, Waller, and Pirine. For me, it's Waller and Pirine.
Same.
Pick 2. Yeah, I think so too. That Waller and Kincaid is close for me, but yeah, I'm not afraid to start Pirine this week, honestly. So that one was kind of the no-brainer, but yeah, Waller, I can agree with that.
And Rich?
Look, I'm not a big Pirine fan. I'm going Waller and Kincaid here. Tight end premium, stuff like that. I like the option. I want. There's a reason everybody's talking about this tight end. I want to see it. Look, I'm just not big on Pirine. That's me.
All right.
They are saying that Jaleel McLaughlin is going to potentially get a lot of carries this week as well. And Javonte is playing. So, I mean, it is a committee. So I could totally see that as well. But
I see the thing. Look, this is the reason why Pirine was brought in. They weren't 100% sure on where Williams was going to be at. Look, he is back and stuff like that. So to me, he's there as a fallback guy and to use and everything. But Williams is their running back, and that was the main reason when they bought Pirine in. So that's the reason why I'm not big on Pirine. He's going to be there to substitute and help out when need be.
I think he's the number one until Williams is off a snap count, and Williams is on a snap count. So I don't see Javonte getting a ton of run, which is why we're hearing McLaughlin, right? Is that That's why we're hearing some unknown guy is going to get a lot of run because they don't trust Williams, and McLaughlin is obviously just a guy who's there. So I do feel like it's going to be a Pirine game at least early, this week, next week maybe. Justine, love the background. Thanks, Uncle Steve.
I'm not sure which one he's talking about, but the Tool Time one behind us is also pretty cool. But
you just can't see it because there's lots of us in the way. Patreon member here. Brian Williams or Javonte Williams. Brian Robinson or Javonte Williams. And Brian Robinson for me.
Yeah.
For all the reasons we just talked about.
Yep.
And then Bobby Pigson says Isaiah Likely is also available. Yeah, drop Everett for Likely for sure.
Yeah, that was part of the question that we spent a lot of time making earlier.
You jumped back over to it. I apologize. Let's see. Deontay, Pittman, Elijah Moore, JSN, PPR, pick 1. Already starting Waddle and Garrett Wilson. He's already got 2 great wide receivers starting. For me, man, normally it would be Deontay Johnson. I hate that matchup. For me, it's going to be Elijah Moore.
Oh man. So JSN is still coming off of that injury. I know he's playing, but wasn't it like a broken arm or something, a broken wrist?
It was an ankle, a wrist. I mean, you're
yeah.
right.
So it's like the ankle, but for the arm. Trying to catch the ball. I don't know. Obviously, he's ready, or he wouldn't be playing. But I think I'm going to wait and see on that one. I don't like the Deontay matchup. You already know how I feel about Elijah Moore. So unfortunately, that by process of elimination, that leaves Pittman. And I will say this much from what I saw in camp: Pittman on that 3-yard slant is open every time. And if you look at his stats, he gets open better than almost any other wide receiver out there. He's going to need to get pretty damn open to get Richardson the ability to get him the ball. But I think it's going to be a go-to play. So for PPR purposes, I feel like Pittman's going to have a lot of short catches. So I think I'm going to go Pittman.
Yeah, so here, the fact that you have Waddle and Wilson as your 2 starting receivers, look, you could go for high floor here. Not high ceiling, but high floor. Pittman has, to me, out of these options right now, has the highest floor to mix in with your 2 receivers.
George?
My only problem with Pittman is like when he played Jacksonville last year, he had 13 catches for 134 yards on 16 targets. That was with Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan had to attempt 58 passes. I'm sorry, Anthony Richardson is not throwing the ball 58 times. So therefore, you can deduct that we're not going to see 16 targets and 13 catches from Michael Pittman this week.
What if it's half?
It's not. I would if you're telling me it's going to be half of that, give me Deontay Johnson all day long.
Interesting. Okay.
So we didn't. Really
I like Pittman. But I want to see it. Like I've got Pittman in our home league. I've got him benched right now because I want to see him with a new quarterback who is not expected to be a volume passer. And I feel like a volume passer would definitely benefit Pittman, but we don't know what we're getting with the quarterback there. So that whole situation, like I'm very low on almost every starter right now outside of the quarterback in Indianapolis right now. And that's because I think the quarterback has, for fantasy purposes, I think he's got a safe floor with his rushing ability.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's 2 for Pittman, and then George and I split the second pick. So, it's Pittman. Joe Clark in Frankenstank. Penny Pirine, OBJ, Evans, Pickens. He needs 2.
I'm assuming this is Mike Evans, so I'm going to go Mike Evans, and I'm going to go with George Pickens.
Well, remember, guys, this is Frankenstein. He's going against us all for points at the end of the season. So when you give him help, keep that in mind.
That's why I told him Mike Evans.
I think he needs to drop Mike Evans and P. Ryan and go pick up a couple of scrubs from the Colts backups. But no, I'm going to go with Evans and P. Ryan here. And the P. Ryan thing is because it's Frankenstein, that extra added point bump that those guys in that area of the rankings list usually get for those first downs and stuff. So I'm going to go with P. Ryan and Evans. But I will say, I said it on Tuesday night, and I'm going to say it again. Pickens will have a crazy one-handed catch that makes highlight
for sure.
And maybe it's in bounds, maybe it's not. I don't care, but you're going to look at that and you're going to think, "Damn, that was a sweet catch."
And it's going to be the one catch of the week.
Probably, which is why we're not going, or why I'm not going with Pickens.
Rich.
Yes, I am going Evans and Pickens. I'm not, like I said, I'm not big on P. Ryan.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm going Evans and P. Ryan. So
sorry, Joe.
Sorry.
So it's Evans and a coin flip.
So Justin loves the background. He's taking $10 from Rich with the help of Rival. So
yeah, we got I think it's a tight end one, same one I think I sent to Justin.
All right,
we have multiples.
Did we decide B-Rob against Zona or Jamal against Tennessee?
B-Rob, I already answered
B-Rob
that.
against Arizona. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I think. I remember the question, but man, there's a lot. Standard League for my flex: Dotson, Pickens, Cooks, OBJ, or Tank Bigsby. Standard League.
Oh man, Brandon Cooks. I don't know what it is about Brandon Cooks, But this offseason, he has looked phenomenal. Like he's always looked pretty fast, but he's looking like he got faster. He's like, I don't know, 30 years old, whatever it is. Probably not that old. It just seems like he's been in the league a lot longer. But that dude looks like he is incredibly fast. Like they brought him there for the speed. I think they're going to utilize him a lot. And being the wide receiver too on the other side of CD Lamb will help get open a lot. And he's playing against your Giants, so it's a win-win. If he does well, you do well, and if they stuff him, then you're happy anyway. So I'm gonna go with Brandon Cooks.
Hey, Justin, just for the record, I want to clarify it. Brandon Cooks is 29 years old.
Hey, that was cool.
But hold on, you're gonna like this. He turns 30 in 15 days.
Hey, all right. I was a lot closer.
You were 15 days close.
That's
You were
right.
15 days off.
That's right.
You know why he looks faster is he got some of those performance-enhancing drugs from that running back that I forgot his name of now.
Which is okay in the NFL.
Well, not really, because their running back got suspended for 2 games for it. What's his name, George?
That's only if you get caught, but we turned a blind eye.
It's only if you get caught. To answer Joe's question here, let's get back on subject here. For me, this is going to be Johan Dotson.
Yeah, I think I'm going Dotson too. So 3-1. Let's see. Yeah, that was right. Answered twice. Walker, B-Rob, or Jamal pick 2.
Walker and B-Rob.
I'm going
B-Rob and Jamal.
I don't like either one of those. I'm going B-Rob and Jamal.
Can we play B-Rob twice?
No.
No? All right. Then I'm going to go with B-Rob and Jamal as well, Dustin. And I think, I think it's close. I think it's just an opportunity thing for me. I think Jamal's going to get more opportunity than Walker because Walker does have Charbonnet there.
All right, Joe, again, standard league at wide receiver 2, Hopkins, Dotson, or Deontay. If this is the same league, you're already starting Dotson.
No, you're
and
not.
then I'm going. Well, no, he's already starting Dotson up here because it was 2 of us to
Yeah,
one
but
and
he's
one.
not going to listen to you guys.
That's probably true. And then, but Hopkins for me here.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to go Dotson based upon the fact that it's a standard league. I
But-
expect Hopkins to get peppered with targets, but I think Dotson has a better opportunity to score a touchdown.
But
That's
he's already starting Dotson way up here.
If that's the same league, we don't know that.
Okay, if it's a different league, then I'll go Hopkins. But if it's the same league, or if it's a different league, I'm going Dotson. If it's the same league, I'm going Hopkins.
I'm with you there, George. I was assuming, never assume. Got it. Cam Akers or James Cook?
Oh,
Yes.
Cam Akers. Come on,
Akers
Cam.
easy.
I love them both. I love them both. I'm still going to go Akers, but I do still love them both this week.
Okay.
Man, in this case, I'm going to go Akers.
All right, and I just lost where we were. Sorry, I went over to the private thing and lost it. Where are Packers? Oh yeah, Packers forever. That's where we were. All right.
So he's a Packers fan. That's good to know after all these years.
You know, I knew that. I just couldn't remember it.
Yeah, it's been a long off season. A lot of sorry, I'm going through a lot of non-question comments here. Patreon here, B-Rob or Javonte Williams? B-Rob. I think we answered this earlier, but B-Rob.
Yeah,
for sure.
this is B-Rob. Expect a committee in Denver.
Yeah.
And again, I think snap count for Williams more importantly.
Yeah, and it's not so much a committee in Washington as it is just a split. So, and then also a really good matchup. So we want B-Rob.
Absolutely. And then Dustin says trade offer, give up Cup for Walker. Thoughts, non-PPR, so standard.
No, I wouldn't do it. I'm still hanging on to Cup. When Cup is healthy and playing, he was still like a top 2 wide receiver last season before he got hurt.
He was number 1 in points per game. So
Okay.
like even
There you go. So I mean, he's still incredible. So once he comes back, now you might be sacrificed. Let's say it's a 12-team league and only like 4 make the playoffs. You might have to consider it because he's on PUP. He's out for 4 weeks. If you're hurting that running back, but like that's going to be the only extreme. But I'm going to want more than Walker for him because that other guy's trying to get Cup for a reason.
All right. Sorry, I'm getting sleeper announcements, but so I'm checking to see if it's anybody in or out, but nothing important. So,
I'll let you know if anything important pops up through the sleeper announcements.
cool. I appreciate that. Getting to the important question: Intman's or Drake's cakes? I don't even know what a Drake cake is, so get that nonsense out of here.
It's estimates. This is not close.
I don't know who either of these are. So if you guys are all about
ETN.
No,
No,
Entenmann's.
it's Intamin's like donuts.
Oh,
Yeah, like the cookies. Yeah, this is a food question here. We get
this is a subtle like play on words, and he actually does want to know ETN or Drake.
He does not. No.
No. This is a food question. Like we get these food questions from Bobby Trees every week, and sometimes they're great. They're great questions. Sometimes they're just really bad takes about how ham is better than bacon, which makes no damn sense. But
Exactly.
I don't know either of these, but if you're both going Intamins, then I'm gonna go Drake's to be the contrarian.
I just don't know what Drake's cakes is.
it's you just went from like Christian McCaffrey down to like Samaj P. Ryan when you went with Drake's cakes.
And do yourself a favor. Find you some Intamin's donuts. They're usually in the grocery store. Get the crumble ones. Oh my God, they're amazing.
Now
Best
I know
donut.
what you're talking about. No, dude, I don't buy grocery store donuts, dude. Go take the little extra effort and go to a donut shop that.
I have a great donut shop. I have the best donut shop right down the street. The place makes donuts that melt in your mouth.
Yep.
Here's the thing.
Out of your
Sometimes I
hand.
don't have time to go down to that shop, and I'm wandering through the grocery store, and I'm a fat dude who still loves donuts and has to have donuts in his mouth.
Okay,
So
but what I'm
Intamin's
saying
fills
is,
that gap.
if these are both cakes or donuts or whatever that you can buy at a grocery store, you have two waiver wires here. This is week 1. All right, we don't need our waiver wire picks yet. All right, go to the bakery, Bob. Go to the bakery.
All right. Let's see. Everett or Dulcich to replace Kelsey. Actually, we didn't get Rich's answer there, but I feel like we covered it. Everett or Dulcich
We weren't talking about empanadas,
or chips.
Or churros.
Fritos.
Churros overall, though. Yes,
Yeah, for sure.
churros overall for sure.
For sure. Everett or Dulcich to replace Kittle.
Dolce di
Everett.
Everett against
All right,
Miami
I'm
is the
done.
answer.
I'm done.
Everett's the answer unless you can get Isaiah Likely.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Pierce or Walker in a standard, guys.
I'm gonna go Damian Pierce.
Same here.
Pierce for me.
All right, then I'll go Walker.
You're picking. You're doing my move.
Justin's doing the Jason.
Justin pulled the Jason. I like it.
But not totally. I mean, Pierce does have that matchup against Baltimore that we poo-pooed on earlier. And I think that it's going to be a closer game with the Rams. And even if he's splitting with Charbonnet, like I think that he may have fewer opportunity, but I think the opportunity he does get should be, bigger holes and better opportunity.
All right. Carr and Wilson is my QB2. QB1 is Burrow. I'm going
Derek Carr here.
I'm going Carr.
I'm going Carr as well.
Me too.
As the footballers would say, send in the car. Send in the car.
Andrew Miller says Fant, Hurst, Logan Thomas, or Taysom Hill at tight end. Here's the thing I know, guys. If you start Taysom Hill, Taysom Hill's one of those. You ever on Guardians of the Galaxy where Drax says like, if nobody's looking, I can turn invisible. I feel like that's Taysom Hill. If nobody starts him, he'll have an incredible game. So guys, nobody start Taysom Hill. He'll be great. If you start him, you ruin it. Completely ruin it.
So every year we have that one team that is just atrocious against tight ends. And that team happens to be the Arizona Cardinals. And Logan Thomas is playing the Arizona Cardinals. Let me give you some stats for the Cardinals last year. Cardinals allowed the most tight end receptions, the most tight end touchdowns in 2022. New offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders, Eric Bieniemy, has a history of using tight ends. Give me Logan Thomas here overall. Just give me Logan Thomas.
I think I'm going to go with the RB2 for the New Orleans Saints this week. Taysom Hill is going. I'm serious. He's going to get a lot of carries. They've even said that he's in packages this week in practice to be the RB2. He's going to get a lot of carries. I want the running back over the tight end, and I do love the matchup there, George. I agree with you. I think Logan Thomas is a good start, but it's Taysom Hill. I've got kind of this man crush on him some weeks, and I think this is one of those weeks where I'm going to fall for it. It might bite me in the ass, but at the end of the day, I'm going to trust my gut. I think Taysom Hill actually has a pretty decent game this week.
All right, guys. For everybody here who's starting Taysom Hill because of Justin, remember, you guys are the one that ruined it this week. You ruined it. I'm gonna say Logan Thomas for all the reasons George said, because I was gonna say those things too. Hurst is not a bad start. I do like Hurst. If Logan Thomas wasn't on this list, Hurst against the Falcons, they weren't great against the tight end either, and I do like Hayden Hurst for a whole host of reasons, not just because of football.
Yeah, one of those reasons is Jeff Okudah is going to be out this game.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. But Logan Thomas. All right. Bobby Pigskin says, "Thank you so much for your time and dedication, George. I found a place near you that honors the parameters of the
restraining order.
And see you at Walmart.
That's because Walmart doesn't care about restraining orders. If you have a restraining order, like, you already shop at Walmart, like you can't avoid it."
Brandon Cooks or Dalvin Cook, half PPR.
Dalvin.
Week 1, I'm going to go with Brandon Cooks.
I'm taking Dalvin. I'm going to say Dalvin. And here's the thing: they've already come out and said that Dalvin's the one in Breece Hall. So, like, not that I think that's going to be amazing against Buffalo, but I'll take it over Brandon Cooks before I see what Dak can do there. So.
For sure, it's not a bad start. I'm not against it. It's just I really like.
Hey, hold on, we got breaking news.
He's in the house.
What's happening? Just
Coach,
go ahead.
The thing everybody wants to know is what's your take on Entenmann's Donuts?
Man, there's like an Entenmann's plant like 5 minutes from me, so the donuts are all right, but the coffee cake's phenomenal.
Exactly.
Coffee cakes, the cookies.
See, that would be okay if you can go to the plant and you can get it right off the bakery or right off the floor. Then it's fine. But
I try not to eat off the floor. Last time I did that, I got these grubs in my mouth. It was disgusting.
I had so many of the chocolate donuts growing up. I liked them so much. I ate so much of them that then I just lost my taste for them completely.
They're waxy and delicious. I love those things.
All right, Jason, we got the very next important question. We can address it. And because he's just now joining us, we'll let Coach go first. Ribs or steak?
Ribs or steak? Man.
These are the kind of questions
ribs.
we get on this show, Coach. This is the deep stuff right here.
Ribs.
For me, it depends on how it's cooked, honestly. Like so I've had ribs that were too rough, and I've had steak that was overdone. It depends on how it's cooked.
So, to me, this question is the best ribs you can eat versus the best steak you can eat. Best steak I can eat is the best thing I've ever had, so I'm taking steak. A beautifully cooked ribeye is probably the best food on the planet.
I feel like the ribs are a good flex play. Steak is like a RB1 wide receiver one, but it's a flex that I can acquire more often than a great steak.
Rich, how about you? We got to get you in on this, Rich.
No, look, I just got to that was great analysis by Coach over there. So I love the way he broke it down like that. So I love it. Steak.
Be back in 1 minute.
Is he going to get some food? I don't know what he's doing.
I think he's going to get a steak. For me, it's steak as well. It's probably not close. I love ribs. I love a good barbecue. But if you're telling me I can only choose one, steak or ribs, I'm going steak. And that's come from somebody who went 20 years without eating steak.
You know what's funny about that is he went 20 years without eating steak until I told him how to properly cook one.
That is not true.
That's very true. But all right, so we are caught up in YouTube questions, guys. If you have more questions, I'm gonna switch back over to Sleeper, and I'm gonna go to the bottom here. Let's see. Stevenson or Zeke? Stevenson has an injury, guys.
It's
Still
it's
Stevenson.
He's
Yeah.
playing, so he's been cleared to play. If he's cleared to play, I'm going to go with the RB1 over the goal line back.
I agree there too. Deontay Johnson, Brandon Cooks, or Van Jefferson?
Oof.
And it's a half-point PPR. If that
All right,
makes
say
a
that one more
difference.
time for me.
Deontay, Brandon Cooks, or Van?
I think I'm going to go Van this time. As much as I like Brandon Cooks this week, I think Van without Cup being there is going to be heavily peppered. So you said PPR, right?
Half-point.
Half point.
That makes
I'm
it
still-
closer, but I'll probably still go Van.
I'm going Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, in this case, I'm going Deontay too.
And that'll be a third for Deontay. So,
Even with the matchup, okay.
let's see. Dalvin Cook or Deontay Johnson? I think we've done this one, and I think we all said Dalvin, but I could be wrong. I don't know. We've had a lot of questions this
I don't
morning.
remember doing this one, but we have answered questions for both of these guys a lot, so probably.
I'll be going Dalvin on that one.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
Charbonnet or AJ Dillon?
Ooh,
Oof.
Dylan.
hold on.
It's
now.
1 point. It's
Not
1
going
point.
It's
PPR.
full PPR. Yeah, full PPR. Charbonnet for me with full PPR. Charbonnet's a good receiver of the ball out of the backfield.
I'm going to go A.J. Dillon. I feel like they're going to be up big against Chicago. They're going to run the ball a lot.
Receivers are a lot of injuries to the receiver. They're going to be leaning heavy on the running game today between Jones and Dillon.
I like Dillon.
That's 2 and 2. No help for you there. Van Jefferson or Alan Lazard, guys?
Jefferson.
Jefferson for me as well.
Yeah, me too.
Can I say Jaden Reed?
You can't. No, because that wasn't one of the questions.
Can I say Jerry Rice in his prime, please?
Well, I mean, unless I'm
I'll
giving
take-
somebody who's probably on your waiver wire.
Can I play Waddle? Speaking of that, this one seems a little easy enough, but flexing full PPR, Jalen Waddle, Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, or Jahan Dotson. It's obviously Waddle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody say anything else.
No.
Let's see. Can I start any Cardinals players?
No.
Yeah, not really. Who do you want to flex in standard? Gibson, JSN, or Traylon Burks? I'm gonna say Gibson
Yep, same
in
here.
standard, even in standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody says likely or Garrett, but I'm assuming he means Everett because Garrett. The only Garrett I know is Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. It's
For
it's
Miles
likely.
Garrett.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're playing IDP, I guess.
It's likely.
Yeah, I think it's likely that he's not talking about Garrett.
He probably meant Gerald.
Yeah. Let's see. Here.
So if you were
Evan
in
Ingram or
the green room,
Taysom
you
Hill.
got Coach it back there doing his laundry.
Ingram for me.
I'm gonna go Everett, but that is super close.
Okay.
I was making fun of Coach doing his laundry in the backdrop. So what was that again?
I don't know what question George was answering actually.
It was Evan Ingram versus Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. But he says Everett, so that's
I meant
not
Ingram.
part of the. Okay, Evan Ingram or Taysom Hill. Coach, we'll go with you because you haven't been on.
I'll go with Evan Ingram. I told Justin, earlier this week on T2T Tuesday night, he's a Colts fan, and I just think it's going to start out a little rough. I think the Jaguars coming off of a strong season, Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley's they got multiple options on the outside. I think the defense is going to have to double team either Ridley, Kirk, and that should open things up for Evan Ingram to work through the middle. So I think his floor, 5 receptions, 55 yards, which is 10.5 points. Taysom Hill, he might fall into the end zone here and there, but you can't count on that. I'm not going to tell you he might, so start him. You know what I mean?
No, I'm with you there. I think Ingram has a good week. And I know Justin's big on Taysom Hill this week, so
Well, I
I'll
am
let
big on
Justin.
Taysom Hill this week, but look at that. We got another new puppy. Oh, no. I see. So yeah, I am big on Taysom Hill this week as the RB2 for this week, but I still think that Ingram has an incredible game against the Colts, so I can't really go against Ingram on that one.
All right, and so I think we've all got Ingram there. Let's see, jumping back over to sleeper guys. We've got 15 minutes left. We've gone through a ton of these already. So, but if you've got more, here's one: Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson, or Rashad White. He doesn't say whether it's PPR or not. I don't think it matters to me. I think I'm going Gibson here.
Really?
So
I
Jason,
think in this case, I'm going Rashad White.
Me
I
too.
think I'd go White too. I got on my Dudes Duds article. Hate to plug T2T 5 minutes ago. I'm going to plug my Dudes and Duds article. Next week, Jason and Rich will be able to plug their player rankings because they're going to be start doing that. That's going to release on toiletstotitles.com every Wednesday. I want to say at like noon. So when you're setting those lineups, you can see where the players are ranked. But I had Najee as a dud. And the reason I have him as a dud, I think you drafted him to be your RB1. I think he's going to score 9 or 10 points. But that's, because, again, if he falls into the end zone, that makes a day for him. But I think he's probably going to get 60, 70 yards in the ground. I don't know if he's going to get the receptions. I like Rashad White in Tampa because they're going to be chasing. And he can catch the ball. If it's PPR, they're going to be chasing Minnesota. Minnesota's going to score, and he's going to be involved. So I like White this week.
And George, I think we're waiting on your answer.
I'm going to go with White over Najee.
Okay, but how about Gibson?
I'll take White over Gibson as well.
All right, and Justin's got his finger up.
No, sorry, that was my ink pen, but I already said White for all the reasons we talked about earlier on the show. Like I think it's an incredible matchup. I'm gonna roll with White.
All right, that's everybody with White and me with Gibson. Let's see here.
If you look for questions, I got one over here in our Gilded chat.
Yeah, let's do that one, George.
Start Jahan Johnson or hold out hope for Waller?
Waller's going to play, I think, unless I've been at a soccer game for the last 2 hours. 3-3 tie, epic in the rain. Great way to start the season. Is there any other news like that came out about Waller? Because I think he played.
No.
I think he plays, but do you
plays
play a
tonight.
tight end over Dotson?
I don't know. I got Dotson in my DFS line in some of my DFS lineups today. I got a lot of Dotson. I got a lot of Thielen.
It's Jawan Johnson, Jason.
Oh, Johnson.
That's right.
Sorry.
Tight end for the
You
Saints.
said-
New Orleans.
said Johan Johnson, so I was confused.
Yeah.
And
All
it's,
right.
and it's Waller, 100%.
100% Waller. Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
They brought Waller in, and I'm not. I mean, maybe he'll be hurt, and it'll hurt him 2 or 3 weeks down the road. Week 1, I think he's going to shine bright in New York this week.
Here's
We
an
got
ugly
another
one.
Here. Start
Oh.
Rashad White or Jamal Williams.
White for me.
To me, it's Williams in this case.
Man, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I thought it was Williams for me as well. We had the same matchup early, so we were split. Now we have Coach to cut off the split.
I think I'm going with Williams. Williams just has a nose. Like, he's a guy who, like, before I'm talking about people who could fall in the end zone, and I can't bank on could. He's going to get into the end zone. That's what he does. So
The problem
I think-
is,
go ahead.
I think the problem though, Coach, is that he had the most carries inside the 5 last year because the Detroit Lions, I think historically had like the most times being taken down inside the 5, like long plays taken down inside the 5 where they just peppered Jamal Williams inside the 5 over and over and over again. The most carries inside the 5 all last year, inside the 20 all last year. He
Right.
historically high numbers, so that's why he found the end zone so much. He was good at it when he got there. I'm not 100% sure. I think that the Saints team get into the red zone and inside the 5 as often as the Lions did last year.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm,
but
I'm-
even
Go ahead,
even back in the Packers days, though, Jamal Williams always found ways to score. Like I remember owning Aaron Jones and getting pissed off at Jamal Williams almost every week.
And I'm drinking the Chris Olave Kool-Aid. Like, I think he is high. Like, I think he's a very legitimate wide receiver. People seem to be banking on Mike Thomas. I'm not banking on him at all. But if he is half of what people think he's going to be coming back, that adds to the offense. Derek Carr, I think, is an upgrade from what they had at quarterback last year. Yeah. So I see Rich bumping his fist. So I think that offense, what they're playing Tennessee, right? If I'm not mistaken.
They're
So-
playing Tennessee, and Tennessee is number 1 in run DVOA, or at least they were last year.
Yeah, I'm going Williams in this one. I like him. I like Williams this week.
I'm just now noticing the blue and white T2T network logo up there. That thing is gorgeous. I need that. I need Campy to send that to me. That's going on a banner somewhere in my house.
All right, and we got one last question. It's from Dustin. Does everybody agree starting Brian Robinson over Walker this week?
Over Kenneth Walker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
What's the latest on Walker as far as injury goes?
According to Jason, the medical terminology he used was he has a groin.
Man.
Yeah, so he's still
I don't
playing,
know.
but that Brian Robinson matchup is incredible.
It is.
But you're also, we got guys talking up Gibson, and I guess Walker also has Charbonnet.
Right.
So they both have, and they both kind of play the same role in their offense, right?
Right.
Robinson and Walker are both in between the tackles, downhill guys. I like Washington this week. I think you talked me into it. If I was setting a lineup and I was just kind of going on impulse, I'd put Walker in. But if he's got a groin, that could be an issue. And
That's the
I'll
medical
go with
terminology update we were given.
Well, and George said he has a groin too, but the difference is Kenneth Walker uses his.
And that's why we're questioning him. See?
Can I
Listen.
ask a question? I want to ask 2 questions.
Okay.
Have we plugged Gilded yet?
We have plugged Gilded. Yeah, we did it at the start. We can do it at the end too.
Excellent. So anybody who's in here, you like these start sit answers right away, you want to get into our Gilded chat, they're going to plug it at the end because I'm going to probably leave in a few minutes. toiletsandtitles@gmail.com if you can't access us on Twitter, and I'll send you the Gilded link. It's like Discord. We have like 20 different channels, which I know Jason likes keeping track of all the different channels we create in there. So
My favorite.
anything you're looking for, we'll talk to you throughout the week to help you set your lineup. Now, the second question I'm going to ask, how many of you are in our survivor pool or in a survivor pool? Rich is in it. Okay. Rich, who did you take this week?
I took Washington.
I took Baltimore. I was going to take Minnesota, but I'm nervous. It would be very Baker Mayfield to come out guns blazing week 1 and everyone will be talking about him and then for him to fall apart. But Minnesota also, on the other hand, they're always an early hot team. But I went away from that game. I just think Baltimore beats Houston.
Here's the thing. This has always been my strategy. I always find one team that whenever someone's playing against them, I want to look at everything. And to me, Cardinals is that team this year. You will always want to look at the option on what team's playing against them, especially the beginning of the year and stuff like that. And then as it starts dwindling down, then you start looking at other options. But to me, look, from the get-go, you should be picking anybody that's playing against Cardinals.
I also like the strategy against the Cardinals for Washington because Washington's not a team that you can say week in and week out they should beat this team. They should beat that team. They should beat like the Ravens. I feel like are going to have a couple of those games this season. But I don't.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know this isn't the theme of the show. This is start sit, but are Bieniemy and Riverboat Ron, are they going to make it through the season together?
They'll make it through the season, but
if anybody goes, it'll be Riverboat Ron. It won't be Bieniemy.
They're already hearing Rivera, some of the comments about Bieniemy. It sounds like they're already not getting along.
Well, Bieniemy is a more
that organization.
Yeah,
Bieniemy is more of an in-your-face type of coach, and Riverboat Ron is not that type of a coach.
So who hired Bieniemy?
I mean, I agree.
The GM, I would think.
But you have to think Riverboat Ron had a say in that, right? Like they're not just going to say, "Hey, we're hiring an offensive coordinator."
Well, that's the thing. That's why I was asking. That's why I was asking because if he didn't have a say in it, then that could be why there's strife right now because they might be hiring Bieniemy to be the heir apparent to the guy that they think isn't necessarily going to be the long-term solution, and you're going to take that personal as the head coach.
Well, you got some egos. You got some egos on that coaching staff between Bieniemy, Jack Del Rio and Riverboat Ron, like how those commingle and mesh is something to watch, because those are some strong personalities.
Shout out to Mike McCarthy for having Dan Quinn breathing down his neck for the last 3 years, knowing that half the organization wants him to take over coaching that team and, keeping things on track. Ron Rivera's already fallen apart.
Hey, Coach, I have to ask.
Question?
I have to ask real quick.
Yeah.
Do you think Deion Sanders gets an opportunity with the Cowboys?
Dude, I think I talked about it last year.
Oh, okay.
I think I called it before he dominated in Colorado. That would be so Jerry Jones. If something happened with, Quinn leaves, anything like, how much, if he crushes it at Colorado, which he is, this is what I said, it would be very Jerry Jones to give him the opportunity, because he could talk. He gets the youth. He understands the youth. He's like a whisperer to these guys. He knows talent. He knows marketing. And for Jerry to be it would just be full circle. So much money would be made. I could see it happening. But if the Cowboys do really well, I don't know if they would. If Deion moves up to the NFL, probably in 2 or 3 years. It depends on where the Cowboys are in that 2 or 3 years.
All right, we've got one more question here, as Coach alluded to, Mooney or Juju. And I am going to take the guy with the exploding knee. I'm going to take Juju.
Yeah, same here. Until his knee explodes, I'm going to take him over Mooney.
I think Juju is a solid wide receiver 2. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's a solid wide receiver 1, and I don't think that he's got a solid offense, especially a weapon at quarterback in Mac Jones that's going to make that big of a difference. And I still feel like I have to take him over Mooney, though.
Right. I think, the Bears, we don't know what their passing attack is going to look like on a weekly basis. They got Claypool, who he's going to eat into some targets. Obviously, DJ Moore he's going to be the alpha there. But look out for Tyler Scott, rookie wide receiver out of Cincinnati. Played running back in high school, ran track. I think he won a state championship as a track athlete, went to Cincinnati, converted to wide receiver. I think the Bears took him in like the 5th or 6th round. That, he's a yak guy, take the top off the defense. Very similar to Darnell Mooney. And that's not good for Darnell Mooney, because the Bears are going to have a second option in that same role. So some of those Mooney targets are going to start to go through to Tyler Scott.
All right. So I think we got through all of our questions this week. We came right up to 12:30. We even had some food questions in there we were able to get to, which I always enjoy because, again, fat guy. So I do want to thank all these guys for coming on with me. Frito, George are going to be my standard co-hosts. And then we were lucky enough to have the two that started Toilets to Titles, Justin and Coach, jump on with us. So I appreciate that. I do want to talk about toiletstitles.com, where you can find everything that Toilets to Titles is doing. We got through the off season with all the information you needed, and now we're going to get you through the regular season with even more information. I think at last count, we were at 17 shows. During the day, we're going to be releasing individual team shows like the NFL shows. And at night, we're going to be doing, or afternoon and evening, we're going to be releasing our fantasy content. With that, we want you to jump in and talk to us live in our Gilded chat. The other night on the opener, we had a game chat going where all of us were in there talking about football as it was going on. And I'm sure we're all going to be in there doing it today. I'm going to have 4 games going at once because I was able to get the Sunday ticket. I'm going to have the 4 boxes on an 85-inch screen. I am so excited. That's about to happen in about a half hour. So, man, I'm jonesing for football in 30 minutes. But in Gilded, get with one of us here at Toilets Titles. We'll get you into the Gilded chat. And then once you're in Gilded, you'll want to join our Patreon. That way you can get in our Patreon chat. Your questions get answered first. You're at the $5 level. You're going to get our waiver wire information before everybody else releases. We get that thing out quick. And so you're going to get that fast. The whole team works on it, and we get it out to you basically right after the Monday night game. There's all kinds of giveaways that these guys are doing. We gave away a copy of Madden 24. We gave away pretty cool hat. We gave away autographed memorabilia. We're giving away stuff kind of every week. And as we hit milestones, so lots of cool stuff if you're a Patreon member of Toilets to Titles. So patreon.com/Toilets to Titles. That's where you want to join. Let's see, what else do we got? What else? Rival Fantasy. Again, join rival.com/title tribe. You can get they match you up to $200 for your first deposit. And if you join with Title Tribe as the code or join rival.com/title tribe as your link, you get an extra $25 bonus. George and I and Rich will all be doing a challenge each week, $5 challenge. So we'll be promoting it that way as well, with proceeds going to charity. We've got so much going on, guys, that it's almost too much to remember. So I'm going to pass it off and let Coach or Justin jump in if I forgot anything we wanted to promote. Justin, go ahead.
Yeah, so we've got trophysmack.com/title tribe down here as well, because we know you're all in fantasy football leagues. We know that many of you are commissioners, and we know that since you are listening to Title Time and Toilets to Titles all week, you're going to be winning your championships. So you want to treat yourself with something nice, right? So trophysmack.com/title tribe. You go there, you can order your league and just say it's for the league, so you can take it out of the league money and then win your league, and then you have yourself an awesome, beautiful championship belt or one of those glorious rings that you see them advertise all the time. Or they also have a bunch of other merchandise and stuff. It's a really cool website. So go to trophysmack.com/title tribe and pick up all of your merch there.
And again, guys, bottom line, Toilets to Titles has you covered for everything you need for NFL and fantasy, not to mention College Football Nation. I'm a guy who, if Saturday's players are good enough, I'll see them on Sunday. But we have a whole team dedicated to college football as well, including Nino, including Coach, and College Football Nation. There's incredible coverage on Saturday's games over there, so check that out as well. We've got everything football related you'll need. Even we're going to be following Dylan, and who we're lovingly calling the Icebox now in soccer. We're going to be covering that every Sunday too. So guys, check it out, and we will see you right here next week at 10:30. Thanks for watching.